What is going on? Welcome back, Bulls Nation. Thank you for joining me for another season of Bulls game recaps. And yes, we are recapping a preseason game tonight because it's the first game of the 2024-25 NBA season for our beloved Chicago Bulls. And I'm going to try to do as many of these game recaps this season as I can. So make sure to follow me at Shy Sports Ross on all the platforms. Stay up to date. So let's get into it. There were some key moments in this game. I want to talk about Matas Buzelis. I know that so many Bulls fans were looking forward to seeing him today. So we will get to that. But first, we got to talk about the starters. And I felt like the Bulls starters came out flat in this game. The Cavs kind of went on a run to open the game, and the Bulls were behind early. Felt like we had seen a lot of these same issues last season, kind of carrying over. Stagnant offense, turnovers, poor situational awareness. Stacey King even shouted out on the broadcast that felt like the defense was over switching for the Bulls, which I agreed with. I felt like there were times where, maybe they were too aggressive on their switches, or they were just lackadaisical and not calling that out and not communicating with each other, leading to easy points for the Cavs. These are things we've seen before. And listen, it's not a shock. This isn't anything surprising. The Bulls took a step back this offseason. Getting rid of Alex Caruso, getting rid of DeMar DeRozan obviously is going to change the makeup of this team, and the Cavaliers are a playoff team. And the Bulls aren't. So it's not surprising, right, that the Cavs came out and looked a lot better in the first half, but there were still encouraging signs. I felt like Josh Giddy and Zach LaVine right off the bat showed some chemistry. And that's a really important duo right there, because the things that Josh Giddy is good at, they will make Zach LaVine's life easier, right? The court vision, the playmaking, transition game. Zach is going to benefit from the way that Giddy plays basketball. So I like to see them forming that chemistry early. I do feel like Giddy was a little bit up and down against the Cavs starters specifically. It felt like there were times, defensive lapses, times where he was getting blown by. But there were also some moments where I felt like he was really locked in and engaged defensively, fighting on the boards, being active with his hands. So he had a couple blocks, he had a steal. So I mean, it's not all bad, but it's going to be something to watch going forward to see how Giddy fits in defensively and in late game situations if you might want to sub him out. So we'll see how this starting lineup continues to gel together. Should mention no Lonzo Ball tonight. We didn't get to see him, but we did get to see the rest of the Bulls starters. I felt like Patrick Williams and Nikola Vucevic, kind of the same game, same thing we saw from them last season. Nothing really standing out too much. There were a couple plays that I liked from Pat offensively where it looked like he was creating his own shot, getting to his spot, which we're obviously going to be looking for more of this season. And Vooch, he's Vooch. You can always count on him for the double-double, 10 rebounds, 12 points. And I think he's just going to continue to be Vooch this season. But Coby White, on the other hand, continues to look like himself in the best possible way. Coby was the only starter to crack 20 points. He had 21 and only 25 minutes. So I think Coby continues to show the burst, the speed, even some strength powering in the lane. I really liked what we saw from Coby in this game, and I just hope he continues to be a focal point of the offense as they continue to mix in some of these new players. And, that does bring up a good point with Giddy as a new guy coming into the mix. I felt like Giddy looked pretty solid against the Cavs' second unit, and that's probably where you're going to see some of that staggering from Billy Donovan. Maybe you're chasing those mismatches where Giddy has length, Giddy has strength at the position. Maybe you try to get him matched up against an undersized, weaker kind of player and get him to play to his strengths. Along with that, Ayo Dosunmu coming off the bench, I thought continued his strong play from the end of last season. I think Ayo Dosunmu just continues to get better. You know what you're getting from him defensively. He's always locked in. And offensively, he's just a reliable, consistent player. He was there for a couple three-pointers. He was there for a couple layups. Made some good passes. Just an all-around really consistent player. I think he's going to slot in as the sixth man this season very nicely. Julian Phillips showed us some good stuff with the second unit and third unit. I thought that there were some defensive lapses from him, but as far as, running in transition, filling the lane properly, there were some nice transition plays from Julian Phillips. Transition 3, he had a nice dunk off a nice pass from Matas. So all in all, I feel like, Phillips is trending in the right direction in terms of being a rotational player. Would still like to see more from him as a scorer. I feel like there's more offensively that can be unlocked there, but maybe that's just not his game, and we'll see how he continues to fit into the rotation. There is a player who I felt like made an impact defensively and offensively that deserves a shout out. And that's Talen Horton-Tucker. I felt like of all the players kind of fighting for a roster spot for the Bulls right now, the guys like Batum and Duarte and now DJ Stewart and Adama Sanogo and Halen Terry, and there's so many. I felt like Talen Horton-Tucker kind of made the biggest impact. Stacey King was joking that he plays like the old head at the YMCA that no one wants to go up against because he's powerful. He's a powerful player. He's got a big build. He's able to power his way through the lane, but he's playing within the offense, grabbing rebounds. He's a natural scorer. He brings energy. So I feel like early pick for a guy to make the roster. Talen Horton-Tucker might have my vote. I was really impressed by some of the things that he was doing there in the second half. And yeah, in the second half, the Bulls started to creep back up, especially in that third quarter. Played a really contentious third quarter and outscored the Cavs. And by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, it felt like the Bulls were firing on all cylinders. I thought Jalen Smith had a solid game. He was hitting the boards. He was crashing the boards. Don't want to see Jalen Smith taking as many three-pointers necessarily. That wasn't exactly a part of his game that I was particularly impressed by. But the rebounding is there. The double-double was there, 11 points, 10 rebounds. So shout out to Jalen Smith in his first game as a Bull. Halen Terry didn't really stand out much to me. He had a nice steal that turned into a transition bucket. Defensively, he continues to be kind of a hound. Him and Julian Phillips, I feel like, make a really tenacious defensive duo. They had the highest plus-minus of any Bulls players. So you could definitely tell that they were locked in defensively tonight. And I think, yeah, that brings us to the rookie that everyone wants to talk about. Matas Buzelis. Guys, Matas, the Matas touch. Moneymaker Matas. Big business Buzelis. This is what I'm telling you guys. Billy Donovan is not going to have a choice. Matas Buzelis has to play this. Billy Donovan has, in the past, let rookies kind of ride the bench for significant portions of the season. They're not ready. They're playing with the Windy City Bulls. They're playing in the G League. Matas Buzelis is ready. Matas Buzelis has to play. He is too good to not play. He is too good to ride the bench. Buzelis came in. He was handling the ball. He was creating his own shots. He was setting up his teammates. He was playing defense, crashing boards, getting blocks, looking for that highlight dunk as he always does. He had a couple of really smooth shots, like a floater and a fadeaway. Just all around, I think Stacey King put it best. Got that dog in him. He just got that dog in him. And he's got to play. I know, Billy Donovan, I know. You don't like to play rookies heavy minutes. I get it. I know. Exception. Matas Buzelis. He's that good. He has to play. And if he continues to get better, which I imagine he will, if you let him play, we're talking about a different trajectory for a team that was rudderless, for a team that had no direction. We're talking about the potential to build a young core. If the team tanks properly over the next couple of seasons, if the team plays their cards right over the next couple of seasons, and they develop Matas and they get another couple high lottery picks, everything changes, man. Things change so quickly in this league. Things can change like that. So you got to play Matas. And it's not just because he needs the reps, though he does need the reps. It's not just because he's so good, though he is so good. It's because you're building a foundation. You're building a core. I understand that Zach is still here. He might not be here at the end of the season. That remains to be seen. But Zach LaVine is not part of your 5-year plan right now. Matas Buzelis should be a part of your 5-year and 10-year plan. I think that the Bulls need to be forward focused this season, and that starts with letting Matas Buzelis play basketball. Billy Donovan, I know you don't care about me. I know you're not listening. It doesn't matter. Please just play the kid. Somehow get this back to him. Play the kid. He's good. He's ready. He looks hungry. He wants this opportunity. And I would hate to be the guy to tell him that he's riding the bench this season. I'll just say that. I don't think he would like that. Those are my thoughts of the Bulls' first preseason win. Obviously, just a preseason game. Not a whole lot to dive into, but I'll reiterate. Matas, play the kid. Play the kid. A couple more things here. The Bulls signed Javon Freeman-Liberty back to the squad during the game. Freeman-Liberty was with the team a couple seasons ago, or a season and a half ago. and had some good moments coming off the bench, as well as playing for the Windy City Bulls in the G League. The CHSN, this was the first game on CHSN. This was the first Bulls game broadcast on the new Chicago Sports Network over-the-air channel. A lot of people have feelings about that. The feeling that I felt was this score bug, which is the little scoreboard that they show in the corner, gotta go. All due respect to the team over there, the production crew. I know you guys are working hard, but it's not good. Nobody really likes it. The vertical design just doesn't work. It's in the wrong side of the screen. Our eyes don't look that way during the game naturally, and we have to take our eyes off the action to do that. Just not good. The home team is supposed to bottom. Next game versus Grizzlies on Saturday, and we are looking forward to hopefully, potentially, possibly, maybe the return of Lonzo Ball back on an NBA court for the first time in 2.5 years. Would be quite a sight. Gonna happen at some point. I hope it's this Saturday. You know that I will be covering every step along the way, so make sure to follow at Shy Sports Russ on all the platforms. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Thank you guys for following along, and I will see you next time.